Well, there's a lot to talk about today. Welcome everyone to the Moonlight Aftershow, where we sit down and we're just gonna discuss what the hell just happened. Now, I know I haven't done one of these for every single episode. It would just become exhausting if we did it every week. But this is one that, given I watched the first four episodes early, this is one I've been thinking on doing this for a while. I've been thinking on doing this after show ever since I first watched that episode. But what was I going to say? I wasn't going to say anything. No buts. So here we are after episode 4 just dropped. I'm getting conflicting reports on what the episode is called, so I'm just going to check because I've seen that it's called The Tomb. I've seen that it's called Moonlight, and that would be really cool, but it'd be weird to have an episode called Moonlight midway through the show. So, okay, it's called The Tomb, and we don't have titles for next week's episode or 2 weeks from now. We don't have titles for episode 5 and 6. The two episodes I have not seen early at all. So right now, after this episode, hey Andrew, thank you for being here, man. After this episode, you guys are all caught up, same as me. I have seen nothing else beyond this point. Any other critic that may have seen episodes in advance, we have seen nothing beyond this point. So now you guys know everything we know. Hey, GKOP, thank you for being here, brother. And it's an episode that we got to talk about. I've been loving covering Moon Knight every week. And by the way, thank you guys. Because I don't know what happened, but the episode 2 review really blew off. And we reached like 1,000 something views. And then last week we reached 100, which I'm also very thankful for. But today's episode is almost at 1,000 views right now. Like right now, it's at 900 and something. So it's doing really well. Thank you to everyone who clicked on it, who commented, who gave it a like. That always really helps. It's cliche, everyone says it, but it's literally the lifeblood of the channel. Andrew, you have not seen the episode. Thank you for being here, brother. Feel free to mute it because we're going to be talking all the spoilers. So I thank you for being here, brother, but I don't want to spoil anything for you. So if you still want to be here, but mute it, it's the safest way. I appreciate you nonetheless, my friend. So let's talk about that episode, huh? Those final 10 minutes. I remember I'm going to guide you through my experience of watching these episodes. I have a new chair, by the way. That's why there's something white behind me. So when I watched the first 4 episodes ahead of the launch on Disney Plus, I was very excited because I was invited to the event to see the first 2 episodes. Then there was a few days where I was like, am I going to get the other 2 episodes, the ones that everyone else has been getting? And I did, thankfully. So I watched those episodes, and I swear to you, I watched episodes 3 and 4 like back to back 3 times, and then just the final 10 minutes of this episode like 4 times in itself. It was insanity. That's how much I was glued into these final 10 minutes. Not only because you're taken for a loop, like with what happens in here. It completely shocks you. It completely catches you off guard. But then there are so many details spread throughout, like the characters that show up, the pieces of dialogue, then the little secrets that you have with the sarcophagi, where Stephen is found by Mark and all that. And then you have Taweret. Now, I want to, once again, plead every single one of you watching that you should read the Jeff Lemire Smallwood run. There should be right now an omnibus for sale. There should be right now like a collection that is just that run that you should be able to get like I'm not going to say cheap, but the general pricing of one of these omnibuses, which should be around 20 something, maybe $30, because it's a big collection. You'll see the whole story, which is great. And so this is the one you should get, because there are moments just in these final 10 minutes. There are moments right here where you see that comic come to life. And the way it is being brought, into this show is very reminiscent of the comic itself. One of my favorite things is the conversation very much mirrors what is happening in the comic. The big difference in the comic is that just imagine you're a Moon Knight fan, you've read some of the stories with this character, and then you start this new run by Jeff Lemire, and suddenly he's in a hospital, and Moon Knight was always a fantasy, and Mr. Knight never existed, and none of that. And that's how the comic starts. That's the big difference from the comic to here right now, is that we spent this adventure, and now we're at the hospital. The comic is completely different. It just starts at the hospital, and I'm guessing what's going to occur in episodes 5 and 6 is what happens in the comic, because right at the end of this one, we also have Taweret, who is the goddess of childbirth, resurrection, of life, of rebirth, all these interesting things that work in a very metaphorical way when you place it within the world of Moon Knight. And I think what's most interesting is that she is basically helping or delaying the death of Mark and Steven so he can become whole again. That's why he wakes up in the hospital right after being shot. It's also interesting that we go from Steven being shot to Mark in the hospital. But that's why you also have a second sarcophagus, and it's constantly shaking and it's standing up. All these little differences to just showcase the difference in personality. So it's all very interesting, and we've been getting the hints for Jake Lockley throughout the show. Some more obvious than others. I've seen a few theories on certain hints that I just don't see them there. But maybe in retrospect, next week, I think we're going to meet Jake Lockley. I think we're going to go back in the show and see the places where Jake Lockley was all along. And I think this whole show is going to come down to these three personalities working together. And I think moving forward, Mark is going to be our main guy, because Mark is the one that has the most at stake here. This is most personal to Mark Spector. He's the guy. He's the guy who became the avatar of Khonshu. He's the guy who had everyone else in his way. He's the guy who lost his wife at the cost of being this avatar. I think he's the guy to lead us forward. And obviously, he's the lead guy in the comics, so fans will know him. We will be naturally more attached to him. But those are only my thoughts. I want you guys right now in the comments, go type in the comments. I want you guys in the comments, in the live chat, to start typing down what you thought of this episode, what you've been thinking about the show, and where do you think it's going to go next? What are your predictions? Throw them down there. Hey, Viewer Drew, thank you for being here, brother. Throw all your theories of what's coming in episode 5 and 6. Throw your thoughts on this episode. Anything else Moon Knight you want to talk about? Remember, today we're just here to talk Moon Knight. That's the focus of this live, because there's just so much to unpack just in these final 10 minutes. Apiste is here. Thank you for being here, Apiste. Show my t-shirt. I am in solo layout. I can't quite get up because my microphone is right on top of me, but let me take your question out. This is a t-shirt of Kamina from Gurren Lagann. That's the design right there. That's the whole design. There's not much more to see. I also have to be careful with my microphone, but that is it. That's the design right there. It's a pretty cool t-shirt. It's one of my anime t-shirts. So thank you for your donation, Apiste. I really appreciate it, my friend, and thank you for being here. But now, let me know you guys' thoughts on Moon Knight. Start throwing them into the live chat. Otherwise, it's just gonna be me talking. None of us wants just that, and this live would be over rather quickly if it's just me talking. So throw it down there, anything and everything you have to say on Moon Knight. This episode was pretty exciting. I've been waiting for like a month for every one of you guys to finally see this episode so we can all talk about it. And now it's here. So let me know what you guys think. Let me know what you think is coming next. Let's start the discussion. Throw them down there as I drink a little bit of water. It's a show that just keeps on surprising me, man. This show just keeps leaving my jaw dropped. I love the exploration of the iconography. I love everything this show is doing. There are a few issues here and there. In fact, there are a few issues that are constant, I would say. But like the broad strokes of the show, what the show is doing well, my God, it's doing so well. I'm absolutely loving the show more than I ever thought would be possible. But I guess that's going to be it then. You guys are not throwing in any questions. You guys don't want to talk about it, so I guess we'll end it here. I'm gonna wait like 5 more minutes, and if there aren't any questions, I guess we'll be done. But yeah, loving Moon Knight, man. In fact, I need to start reading the current run, which I have right over there. But I want to reread the Jeff Lemire run. I ordered it like a month ago. And it still hasn't even dispatched. And it's the only option I have to get it. Even other sites, I can't get my hands on it. The View with Drew just finished episode 4, Moon Knight. It was good, but the worst of the 4. Okay. I don't have a worst personally because I just really like them all. Okay, and Drew is asking, do you think this episode is the worst of the 4 or the best? It definitely can't be the worst for me because the ending, the final 10 minutes alone, and then the rest of the episode just feels like Temple of Doom, you know? To me, it's a very horror-centric episode. I still think overall for me the best episode is number 3. I think maybe episode 1 is the weakest. And when I say that, it's a fantastic episode. I think every episode thus far has been really good. Like, really good. And then I'd say episode 3 and this one are great episodes of television. It's a really tricky show because up until this point, up until Moon Knight, every episode of the MCU shows, even Loki, which you guys know I adore. Loki is the best show for me. Even Loki has an episode that I think is just okay. Every other episode is fantastic, but then there's one episode that is just okay. WandaVision is the same. Falcon and Winter Soldier has like 2 okay episodes. And then Hawkeye has like 3 okay episodes, or 4 even okay episodes. Moon Knight, I think they're all really good and even great. But I think I'm, off the top of my head, I think I'm going with 1 as the weakest out of the 4. But again, when I say weakest, they're all really good for me personally. That's my opinion. But yeah, what makes you think is the weakest, Drew? I would like to know that. But yeah, because that ending alone for me just elevates not only the show in general, but everything we saw in this episode leading up to that. Because it's an episode that just builds upon itself. It's escalating upon itself, and it continues to prove that the show itself is a show that continues to escalate and build upon what came before. It's not there to give you every piece of the puzzle. It's not there to spoon feed you anything. It's not there for instant gratification. It's a show, so it's telling this story across the 6 episodes. I'm sure you guys seen the discussions that have emerged, not only from the Disney Plus shows, but also recently with the Book of Boba Fett, as these shows feel kind of malstructured. And the excuse that we seem to see all the time is that they're basically stretching movies into television programs. Okay, then that's a bad thing. Because if you're doing a television program, you should tell a story in the way a television program does it. MoonKnight is doing that. MoonKnight is not letting you figure everything out on episode 2 or 3 or 4, because now past that midpoint, now we're at the point of no return. We have this major shift where every single one of us is like, what the fuck just happened? And so it's very confusing, but confusing is a great way. It's a bad thing when you reach the end of a story and you have more questions than answers. But when you have something like this, we're more or less midway through a show, or we're more or less midway through the show, and we have right now more questions than answers. That's a good thing, because the story is not over. And so it means for episode 5 and 6, which they may screw up, let's be fair, but now, at this point, we have more questions than we ever had answers, and that's exciting, because there is still story to be told in this show. And I think that's frigging awesome. But yeah, that's one of the reasons why I really like episode 4, because it clearly understands the structure of a story in a TV show. That's a really good question. Which one do I think is the weakest? I don't know. I don't think any of them is weak, but again, I think if I'm going to have a weakest, it's probably going to be episode 1. That's the weakest. Sorry, everyone. I'm back. Not technical difficulties. I'm back. I just swiped to go back on my tab accidentally. That's on me. I apologize, but I'm back. It's all good. Don't worry. But any more questions, guys? Otherwise, any more questions? Otherwise, we'll end this live, since you guys don't want to talk too much MoonKnight, clearly. I do appreciate everyone who's here right now, who's here so far watching this at the moment. Let me just do something. How about that score too? That score is fucking sensational every single week, man. I'm loving the score for this show, and it's still not available. Just only the main theme. The main theme is already available on Spotify. I can live with that, I guess. But I need the whole score, man. I need the entire thing on my ears on Spotify. All right. Okay, we're at 18 minutes and 30 seconds, give or take. So I'm going to leave you guys to give me any questions until the 20-minute mark. If until then we don't have any questions, I'll just close this out. It was kind of clearly a failure. But if there aren't any more questions, there's no use me sticking around. Yeah. All right. Let me just check something. All right. So yeah, leave any questions or theories or thoughts on this episode. But I would like to know what you guys think is coming next. All right. Let me check something. Nope, not this. Okay. All right. Any more questions, anyone? Any more questions before we say goodbye? Because if there are no questions, I will say goodbye. And by the way, there's a new Doctor Strange spot that I would advise you guys stay away from. And apparently there's not. Never mind what I was gonna say. All right, that is it then for this live. Nobody wants to talk about Moon Knight, so I'm gonna leave you guys to go on your day. Oh, hang on. I knew you were gonna say that. I knew you were gonna say that, bro. Didn't know Jacob Pickett Smith character from Madagascar met a Cameron Moon. This morning, hang on, let the camera focus. There we go. This morning, a friend of mine, when he finally saw Moon Knight, he messaged me, and he just sent a picture of the character from Madagascar and just said hi. And immediately knew he had seen it. So you're not the first one to think on it. It's just funny to make those comparisons now after the events of last month. Excuse me. I'm sorry. After the events of last month, it's really funny. But I immediately thought that a month ago, before it was actually really funny. And you're not alone. You're not alone, my friend. You're definitely not alone, GKOP. Because I was already caught by that joke earlier today. And it's still funny. It's still funny, by the way. I think it's really funny. Shouldn't be as funny as it is, but it's very, very funny. All righty. I think right now that's it. I think we're going to close it out. Let me check something. Did we pass a thousand? No, you still haven't passed 1,000 views. We can still pass 1,000 views on the review itself, where I give you the breakdown of the ending in a much more eloquent way than I did today, because this is live. There's no editing. There's no script for me to read off of. So yeah, but I really like the thumbnail I made for this one. So I'm going to keep this one up. I'm not going to delete it. I'm going to keep this one up. So yeah, that's it for today. For this short live, I guess, on Moonlight episode 4. Apparently, there are no more questions. GKOP, love the episode. Great episode. Hopefully the show sticks the landing in the last 2 episodes. Yes, which they can very well screw up. Well, I hope they don't. I don't expect them to. But let's be fair. It's very possible that they screw up in the last 2 episodes. It can take a turn. Because I remember Hawkeye, for instance. Hawkeye was something that started off really great, and then meandered a bit in the middle. And then when Yelena came in, and when we started learning more about Echo, things started to heat up again. And then the last 2 episodes were, okay, this is good. And overall, the show was good. I feel the biggest problem with Hawkeye was that it was too focused on the mystery behind who's the big bad. Because I know people keep saying that the Disney Plus shows had the same kind of who's the big bad kind of thing. I don't think they're exactly the same. I think they have a mystery in common. Those last shows. Where's Jake? Well, funny enough, he's locked. He's locked in the sarcophagus. But yeah, it's very possible that they screw up. I don't want them to. I don't expect them to. This show is so good. And right now, I don't know what's coming next. I have no clue what is coming next. And that's exciting. I was just saying, Mendes here, and she knows. She saw the first 4 episodes. We're now on the same place as everyone else. Where we're not waiting like weeks, like, hee, let's keep this secret. Where's Jake Lockley? I need Jake Lockley. That's a great question. What do you think Jake Lockley will be like? Because to me, my prediction, and he's not like this in the comics. In the comics, he's basically the boots on the ground personality. he rents a cab and he acts as a taxi driver in New York, because he's not in London in the comics, in New York, to guide people around and learn what is happening, who is doing what are the drug lords doing, what are the criminals going on about. That's what he does. But in this show, I'm kind of expecting Jake Lockley to be kind of the most evil out of the three, because clearly Steven is a good guy. He's the good. I think Mark Spector, clearly he's not a good man, but he has a conscience. It weighs on him, so he's the bad. And then I'm expecting Jake Lockley to be the really evil guy, so the ugly in that dynamic. And I can't wait to see Oscar Isaac play that part of the, if it is that. Because if he's not that, I have no prediction at how Jake Lockley will actually be personality-wise. Like, what's that guy? What's that personality like? Yes, we can finally talk about it. I remember, I think it was like 2 weeks ago. I think it was around the time. No, it was last week when episode 3 came out, that some outlet, and I think it was a big one. I don't remember who it was, but I think it was one of the big outlets that accidentally had scheduled an article to come out about the ending, and apparently they scheduled it like a week earlier. And so their explanation of this episode's ending, of episode 4 ending, dropped last week. I think they were quick to like take it out, to take it out of circulation and just delete it from the page. But it was chaos for like 6 minutes. But then everyone on Reddit quickly saw the article and started discussing it there. So to certain people it leaked, but now we can finally talk about it. I've been holding on to this secret for like a month. Me, Manda here, and everyone else were like, we haven't had new MoonKnight, proper new MoonKnight, in like a month. Like, we've been waiting on a new episode that's going to be episode 5 for like a month. And it's driving me insane because I'm loving this show so much. Some storylines in Hawkeye didn't get fleshed out or set up early for them to pull it off. I agree. It's one of those shows that felt like both it dragged and at the same time it rushed through a ton of things. Jeremy Renner and Haley Steinfeld definitely saved the show, as well as Florence Pugh. I agree. I think that show, even more so than Falcon and Winter Soldier, was like a showcase of how character stuff, fantastic. Story stuff, very questionable at points. I think they had a ton of stories, but didn't properly blend them together and made them flow into one another. It just felt like the several stories in Hawkeye kind of tripped into one another accidentally. It felt very happenstance for the most part. Plus, so far, Loki, in my opinion, is the only Disney Plus MCU show to stick the landing. I think WandaVision stuck the landing. I definitely think it was underwhelming considering the show that came before. But overall, I personally still say it's good. That was good. That was a good landing. Hawkeye and Falcon and the Winter Soldier is tricky. Because when we use the term stick the landing, I don't know. I think Falcon and Winter Soldier stuck the landing, but it still had a few issues with that. With the whole, what were their names? The masked, the super soldiers. I don't remember their names because they are just forgettable. That's the biggest problem with Falcon and Winter Soldier. But I think overall they still stuck the landing. I think Falcon and Winter Soldier, in that sense, had a really good story, just didn't have the great characters in the villainous side of things. But bar none, Loki has by far the best finale up until this point. Who knows if Moon Knight's going to have a good finale at all? I hope so. But yeah. I get you, brother. Not saying finales were bad, but WandaVision and Falcon were fine, but rushed. to me, WandaVision wasn't necessarily rushed. Personally, to me, the issue on that one for me was it didn't feel like it was building to that. Obviously, you need the confrontation. Obviously, we were all theorizing on white vision versus fake vision. But how the execution of it, of the finale itself, how it literally happens, it didn't feel like that's how it was going to pay off. And even now, looking back, when you have Falcon and Winter Soldier, when you have Hawkeye, when you have Loki, now Moon Knight, even it being a very different show from all of them in structure, the story it's telling, it's not named after a character, it's named after a specific situation. WandaVision, even with the 9-episode count, feels weird. If you're going to do 9 episodes, why not do 10 episodes? It's one more. Obviously, budget and all those things. You're going to have to spend money if you do another episode, obviously. But if you're Marvel, you're Disney, you don't have to worry too much about budget. But if you have already those 9 episodes, add one more, flesh it a little bit more. The people who stuck around for 9 weeks to watch those 9 episodes, they'll stick around for one more. So yeah, I'm so excited to see Jake. I think it might be a combo of the two of them. That'd be interesting to make Jake the coming together of Mark and Steven. That'd be interesting. Or be completely unhinged. It'd be interesting the combo of the two. What if Jake is like the black sheep of the family? I don't know what kind of dynamic that is specifically, but like Mark knows of Jake and he doesn't like Jake. And then Steven, who never met Jake, quote unquote, he now meets Jake and he likes him. So now Steven and Mark, who've always been butting heads throughout the show, meet this other guy that Mark doesn't like, but then Steven gets along great with him. That'd be interesting. I think I like that. I mean, the possibilities are endless. And the way they've been creative with the show thus far makes me completely trust in the creative process they may have for Jake and for episodes 5 and 6. I'm going to search again for the Lemire run because I want an Epic Collection. It's not Epic Collection. Yeah, still not available. I don't get what's so frigging weird. Yeah, and still says, yeah, never mind. The MoonKnight run I want to buy is still not available here in the UK, and I want to buy it because I want to reread it. But yeah, not available. Oh well, sucks to be me. Anyway, we're about half an hour, so if you have any more questions, I'm willing to do this for like the next half hour to hit the 1 hour mark. But then after that, we call it a day and we get ready for more content tomorrow. Because tomorrow I'm either dropping my X2 X-Men United review or my review for Netflix's Bubble, their new anime film that is dropping next week. It's dropping on the 28th. Today is the 20th. It's 4/20th. Happy 4/20th, everyone. I guess people had a problem with WandaVision turning into a typical MCU CGI battle in the finale after the show was different than what Marvel had done. I can see that. I can totally see that. The way, and I'm not saying this was you, Jake Lockley, at least I don't remember it being you. To me, the way I saw it on Twitter is that it implied that the fact that it paid off in a CGI battle completely took away from the rest. And I don't think it does. That's why I'm saying, like, it felt underwhelming, but it was really good. To me, obviously, that's only my opinion. Excuse me. That's the biggest problem I have when taking opinions, usually from people I don't know, from Twitter. That it just feels very much like it's a 0 or 10 kind of thing. Like, look on. I'm going to give an extreme example that people will be mad at me, but look at Game of Thrones. Like, Game of Thrones had one season that people really complained about, and then they just completely forgot the 7 seasons that all those same people really loved. Uh, that's my biggest issue when I see this stuff on Twitter. That the final CGI battle on WandaVision, like, did it completely take away? Did it undo everything else those other 8 episodes had done? I didn't feel that. I felt underwhelmed, and to an extent, I agreed with what people were saying. But I think there was just too many extremes on that. I'm seeing The Northman tomorrow with my parents. Kind of a weird choice to see with a family, I know. I think it's all right. It's a violent movie. It's a trippy movie. But other than that, I think you're pretty all right. There is, should I say this? I'll say it. There is a sex scene. It's very quick. It's only like a wide shot far away. And then there's a close-up where characters are naked, but you don't see anything. They strategically cover everything with where the camera is and where arms cover up certain parts of the body and whatnot. So yeah, it's not too weird in that sense. Like, The Witch wouldn't be weird to watch with their parents, but it definitely won't be as weird as, let's say, if you were going to watch The Lighthouse with your parents. And speaking of watching things with your parents, which makes no sense because I'm not watching the movie I'm about to talk about with my parents, but Everything, Everywhere, All at Once finally has a release date over here. So that review is not going to get any views. Nobody's going to care about a review for that movie by the time I watch it, but I'm finally watching that film very soon. Could be as early as next week. But right now, that's all I can say. You'll have to be on the lookout for any news on that. Because right now that's all I got. Right now that there's nothing else I can say on that because nothing is confirmed as of this point. Nothing is confirmed. So yeah, let me just do something. Okay. Whew. Yeah. But that's awesome, dude. That's awesome that you're going to watch The Northman. I can't watch it tomorrow because it's not. I mean, it's out here, but tomorrow I already have some things to do. And then I have to give you guys the reviews that I just talked about. We got what do we got? I just talked about it. Bubble, the Netflix anime movie, and X2 X-Men United. So this week I'm not going to be able to take care of 2 X-Men reviews, but next week I'm going to do it. I'm wondering if I skip the Wolverine movies for now and leave them for when the X-Men actually come into the MCU, and I just skip to First Class and the prequel saga of X-Men, or if I take care of the Wolverine movies as well right now. It's a debate I'm having internally with myself. But yeah, those reviews are coming. And thank you, my friend. I'm very hyped for that film. Even though I haven't seen a single thing about it, I've stayed away from everything everyone else has said about it. It's even out in Portugal. In Portugal, it came out like last week or 2 weeks ago, and it makes no sense that it's not out here. And I swear to you, as much as it pains me, if it's available on digital anywhere before it's here in cinemas, if I don't get to watch it next week, I'm gonna first watch it in cinemas. I'm gonna first watch it in cinemas. Not even gonna care. Not even gonna care that I can watch it in cinemas. I just need to watch it ASAP. That's the cost. That's the cost of having to wait for movies so long. But yeah. So I'm very excited for that. And I think we're going to call it. I think we're going to call it right now, everyone. MoonKnight episode 4, the mind-blowing episode of MoonKnight. Finally here. You've all finally seen it. And now we can all talk about it. We can all discuss Taweret, the goddess of childbirth, the hidden sarcophagus with Jake Lockley inside. I'm wondering what the... I mean, obviously, next week we're going to see Jake Lockley. We're going to go back through the episodes. But we need a big pin drop, because every episode thus far has a banger of an ending. First episode, MoonKnight, where there's this deliberate choice by the character of kind of letting go of power to become powerful. There's a really poetic kind of story structure in there, story beats rather in there. Episode 2, Mark takes control, doesn't let Steven out. He's in Egypt. And then episode 3 is the episode where he loses the powers. Khonshu is imprisoned. And now this episode. Like, every ending has been memorable. Every ending, like the final moment of each episode, more so than any other moment, is a shift from where the episode prior to it was. So episode 1, the Moonlight reveal completely shifts from where the episode was prior to that. Episode 2, Egypt, same thing. Episode 3 with the Khonshu imprisonment, same thing. It all builds upon itself. And what is next week going to end up like? Like, are we only leaving the hospital by the end of next week? It's nuts that we can't predict what's going to happen, but it's awesome. It's awesome, and I cannot wait for the next spot that they put out, because for the past few weeks, ever since the show started, because I have seen the first 4 episodes, I just felt free to watch the TV spots that came out. And so whenever they came out, I'm like, ooh, I haven't seen that shot. Ooh, I haven't seen that shot. And so far, there's only like 4 shots in total that I haven't seen. And now that you guys haven't seen up until this point, which is the spot of Harrow knocking his cane on the floor, the pyramid with a beam of light. There's a shot where it's Harrow and MoonKnight running at each other and MoonKnight taking him out. And then there's a shot of, I assume it's Mark Spector, with the white eyes taking on the power again and Khonshu breathing on top of him. That could be a flashback, though. That may be next week. That may be 2 weeks from now. And also, there's a shot. I examined it in my review. So if you haven't seen my review, go watch it, where we see Mark, I assume it's Mark, with a MoonKnight suit but no mask, standing over a pile of bodies in the desert. I have a theory. I'm pretty sure. I'm like 99.9% sure on what that is. And I explained it in my review. So if you haven't seen my review, go check it out. But I'm going to call it a day right now. Thank you for joining me so much. Thank you, Jacoby P. Thank you, Manda. Thank you, Viewer Drew and Andrew H. Thank you, Apiece, for your donation and support of the channel. And if any of you are interested in becoming a member or in chiming in about memberships, there's a community post right now on the channel. So please go check that out. I appreciate any and every feedback. And I'll be back soon. More content's coming tomorrow on Friday. And of course, this Saturday, Geeks. Not Geeks. That's the wrong podcast. That podcast is dead and buried. Saturday this week in Geek, where I'm sure we're going to talk more MoonKnight. I just went through puberty a little bit there. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. Till the next one. Love each other.